We are Soccerphiles Canada. Check us out by searching International Soccer Preview. Welcome to Series 30, looking at the players of the 2025 Gold Cup. This episode is looking at the players of USA. Part 2, the selections. Here we go, and begin section 3 with our Spotlight Review. So in the Spotlight Review, we are going to race through the team and let you know who was selected, many of the players on the preliminary squad, and what our predicted starters are. So let's go back to the top and begin with the manager, Mauricio Pochettino. We will consider him a selection for the squad. He'll be leading them through it. And we go to goalkeepers. We have definite candidate Matt Turner, who was selected for the squad. Likely candidate Patrick Schulte, not selected even for the preliminary squad. That's because of injury. Our two possible candidates, Zach Steffen and Diego Cochin, both of those only making the preliminary squad. Possible but unlikely candidates, Ethan Horvath and Sean Johnson, were involved over the period, but were not even considered here, not even making the preliminary squad. But we have possible but unlikely Matt Freese as a surprise selection. And then even more surprising, one of our four seemingly off the squad candidates, Chris Brady, selected for the final squad. So we have Matt Turner, Matt Freese and Chris Brady as our goalkeepers. In terms of prediction, we think Matt Turner is a definite starter and Matt Freese will be the backup, we think. On to defenders. We had a definite candidate in Tim Ream, who was selected for the squad. Three likely candidates, all of them selected: Mark McKenzie, Chris Richards and Miles Robinson. And then three possible candidates, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Austin Trusty, just making the preliminary squad, but Walker Zimmerman selected for the final squad. We're not going to go through players who are possible but unlikely or seemingly off the squad, unless there is reason to. In this case, there isn't. So let's go to possible starters here. We think it could be any one of the candidates here. Tim Ream, Mark McKenzie, Chris Richard and Miles Robinson, perhaps even Walker Zimmerman. We're not really sure. We can't determine a starter there. Okay, let's go to left backs. We had no definite or no candidates at the definite level. The likely candidate, Anthony Robinson, made the preliminary squad, but not the final cut. That's due to injury. Two of our three possible candidates, Dewan Jones and Caleb Wiley, just selected for the preliminary squad, but Max Arfston selected for the final squad. And then surprise selection, John Tolkien, seemingly off the squad but selected for the squad. So in terms of starters, we think it's definitely going to be Max Arfston starting as a left back position. Over to the right side, we had definite candidate Joe Scully, not selected for the final squad, nor were any of our three possible candidates, Serginho Dest, Shaq Moore or Marlon Fossey. All three of those making the preliminary squad, but not the final cut. We do have two new candidates added. We kind of have to, because there are no candidates. So newcomers Alexander Freeman and Nathan Harriel named to the squad, newly named to the squad. And we think those two will be the likely starters because they're the only candidates, Alexander Freeman and or Nathan Harriel as right backs. On to the midfield, we had one player as a versatile midfielder, Yunus Musa. He was not selected. He was selected for the preliminary squad, but not selected for the final squad due to his involvement in the Club World Cup. So we go to defensive midfielders. No candidates at the definite level here, but we have the likely Tyler Adams selected for the final squad, as well as the possible Luca de la Torre selected for the final squad. We'll look at central midfielders. Before we predict starters, we have a likely Tanner Tessman, not selected for the final squad, just on the preliminary squad there. And then we have four possible candidates. Two of them making the final squad, Johnny Cardoso and Jack McGlynn. but two of them not making the final squad, Gianluca Busio and Aidan Morris, both of them due to due to injury. Aidan Morris, a bit of a strange case there. We'll cover that later in section 3 here. And then we won't go into any of the players below that level, any of the 8 players below that level, but we will introduce new candidates, Quinn Sullivan and Sebastian Berhalter, both added to the squad. They had not been on our list before, and they are on the squad. Let's go to the predictions for starter then. Well, we're really unsure over here, so we can't predict a definite or even likely starter. We have 3 possible starters: Tyler Adams, Luca De La Torre and Johnny Cardoso. On to we'll talk a bit about right and left midfielders here. We had a likely candidate for left midfielder Giovanni Reyna, and like many candidates here, he's miscoded. He's actually an attacking midfielder, but we put him on the left here because that's where he's played. So whenever you see a miscoded player, it'll be because that's where they've been playing over the recent period. Anyway, Giovanni Reyna, not even named to the preliminary squad. He's going to be at the Club World Cup. Possible candidate Diego Luna, though, he was selected. He's the only one of our right and left midfielders that is selected. On the right side, we had definite candidate Weston McKennie, but he's also off at the Club World Cup. So what we think is that even though they used a 4-3-3 formation with left and right midfielders over this period, that they're not going to use it in the Cup. For one thing, Pochettino has not used that formation, and for another, there are too many players missing for them to use it. Up we go to the attacking midfield, and we start with left attackers. Definite candidate Christian Pulisic on the preliminary squad, but not selected for the final squad for reasons that I won't get into. No candidates at the likely level, and 3 candidates at the possible level. The first of them, Brendan Aronson, making the final squad. Brian Gutierrez, just the preliminary squad, and Kate Cowell, not even named to the preliminary squad there. In terms of predicted starters, we think likely starters, either Brendan Aronson or Diego Luna, who we met as a left midfielder just a moment ago. Over to the right attacking end of the field, we had a definite candidate in Timothy Weah, not even named to the preliminary squad because of his involvement in the Club World Cup. And we have Malik Tillman, who was selected for the final squad. Possible candidate Alejandro Zendejas, just named to the preliminary squad, but not making the final cut. So what do we have for predictions over here? Well, we're going to see that the only candidate remaining, Malik Tillman, is going to play as a central attacking midfielder, and so we have no one left over here. We go with central midfielders that we introduced, Jack McGlynn and Quinn Sullivan. We think it's likely that one of them, or perhaps both of them, are going to be starters over here on the right side. Okay, let's go to central attackers. And actually, we didn't have anyone at the definite, likely, or possible level. But what we did have was seemingly off the squad, Paxton Aronson selected for the squad. And when it comes to predictions there, we think it is Malik Tillman, who we just met as a right attacker, or Paxton Aronson starting as a central attacker in the 4-2-3-1 formation that we expect Pochettino to use. Let's go on to forwards then, and we had a definite candidate Folarin Balogun, selected for the preliminary squad, but not making the final cut due to injury. Ricardo Pepe also not selected even for the preliminary squad. That too is due to injury. 3 likely candidates, the first of them Josh Sargent, just making the preliminary squad, but the other 2, Haji Wright and Patrick Aguiman, both named to the final squad here. 2 possible candidates, Brandon Vasquez just making the preliminary squad, but Brian White selected for the final squad, and then a possible but unlikely candidate, Damian Downs, named to the final squad. Good Lord, that is something, and it's the end of our Spotlight review. Check us out by searching International Soccer Preview. We would like to thank Future Bass for the wonderful music you hear in this podcast. The title is called Alone.